Hello, and welcome back to Easy English Chats. I'm Eva.
And I'm Paul. Thanks so much for joining us today.
If this is your first time listening, welcome. This podcast is for people who are learning English and want to hear real, natural conversation. We talk about everyday topics, we use simple language, and we try not to speak too fast.
We try. I sometimes forget.
You do sometimes forget, yes. But that's okay, because if you ever miss something, you can always rewind and listen again. That's one of the great things about podcasts.
Exactly. And today's topic, I'm really excited about this one, actually.
Me too. So today we are talking about advice, specifically the best advice we've ever received.
Yes. So, throughout our lives, people give us advice, right? Our parents, our teachers, our friends, our colleagues.
Even strangers sometimes.
Even strangers, yes. And most of the time you hear the advice, you think, okay, thanks, and then you completely forget about it.
Yes, that's very honest.
But sometimes, just sometimes, someone says something to you and it really sticks. It stays with you. And maybe it changes the way you think or the way you live your life.
That's what we're exploring today, the advice that really stayed with us.
And we'd love for you to think about this too as you're listening. What's the best advice you have ever received?
Great question to think about. Okay, shall we get into it?
Let's do it.
So, Paul, do you want to go first? What is the best advice you've ever received?
Okay, so I've been thinking about this, and there are a few things that came to mind, but I kept coming back to one thing. And it's actually something my dad said to me when I was about 17, 18 years old.
Oh, okay. What did he say?
So I was finishing school and I was very stressed about my future. What job should I do? What should I study? What if I choose the wrong thing? And I remember I was talking to my dad about it and I was getting quite anxious.
Yeah, that's such a stressful time in life.
It really is. And my dad just looked at me and he said, very calmly, most decisions in life are not permanent.
Ooh, say that again?
Most decisions in life are not permanent, meaning most of the choices you make, you can change later. They're not forever.
Oh, I like that.
And at the time, I thought, okay, that's nice, but it didn't immediately help me feel better. But over the years, I keep coming back to it. Because I think when we're young, especially, we treat every decision like it's the most important thing we'll ever do.
Right, like if I choose wrong, my whole life is ruined.
Exactly. And it's just not true. Most things you can adjust. You can try something, and if it doesn't work, you change direction.
That's really freeing, actually, when you think about it that way.
It is. It takes the pressure off. You can just try things. Take a chance.
I love that. And did it actually help you? Did you make a decision you were scared about?
Yes. So I actually changed my university course. I think I was in my second year, and I was terrified to do it. I thought, this is such a big deal. Everyone will think I'm a failure. But I thought about what my dad said, and I thought, it's not permanent. I can change this. And I did, and it was absolutely the right decision.
That's a great story, and you're clearly not a failure, so.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So yeah, most decisions are not permanent. I'm going to remember that one. Okay, my turn.
Yes, go on.
So mine is a little different. It's not from a family member. It's from a teacher I had when I was maybe 22, 23. So I was already at university, and I had this professor. She taught writing, and she was quite strict, but very, very good.
The best teachers are often the strict ones.
I think so, yeah. And I remember I had handed in an essay, and I got it back, and honestly, it wasn't great. She had written a lot of comments all over it, and I was a bit deflated. You know that feeling?
Yeah, when you feel disappointed and a little defeated.
Yes, exactly. And I went to speak to her after class, and I said something like, I worked really hard on this, and I still didn't do well. And I was kind of hoping she would say, oh, don't worry, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
But she didn't say that. She looked at me and she said, effort is not the same as result. Working hard is necessary, but it's not enough on its own. You also have to work smart.
Work smart, not just hard.
Yes, and at the time, I was a little bit offended, honestly. I thought, I worked so hard, and you're telling me that doesn't matter?
Yeah, I can understand that.
But then she explained what she meant. She said, effort without reflection doesn't improve. You have to stop, look at what's not working, and change your approach. And that was the key part. Change your approach.
Oh, that's really interesting because I think a lot of people, and I include myself here, think that if you just do more of the same, you'll get better results.
Right, but sometimes you're just repeating the same mistakes more times.
That's painfully true.
And for me, that changed the way I study, the way I work, everything really. I started asking myself, am I actually improving or am I just being busy?
That is such a good question. There's a big difference between being busy and being productive.
Huge difference. And I think that's especially relevant for language learning, actually, for our listeners. Because sometimes people say, I've been studying English for 5 years and I'm not getting better. And often the issue isn't the amount of time, it's the approach.
That's so true. Are you doing the same thing every day, or are you challenging yourself? Are you reflecting on your mistakes?
Exactly. So that advice from my professor has genuinely stayed with me. Work smart, not just hard.
I really like that. And I like that it comes with a challenge attached. It makes you think. It's not just comforting, it's useful.
Yes, good advice doesn't always make you feel better immediately. Sometimes it makes you think harder.
That's a really good point. Okay, can I share another one? Because I thought of one more that I can't not mention.
Of course.
So this one I actually read. It wasn't something someone said to me directly. I read it in a book, and I cannot even remember which book, which is a bit embarrassing.
The advice stuck, not the source.
Exactly. But the advice was this: compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today.
Oh, that's good.
Right? And I think in today's world, with social media especially, this is so hard to do because you're constantly seeing what other people are doing, what they've achieved, what they look like, what they have.
And it can make you feel really bad about your own life, even if your life is actually pretty good.
Exactly. You could have a perfectly good day, and then you open your phone, and suddenly you feel like you're failing at everything.
Yes, I know that feeling very well.
So the idea is, the only person you should be comparing yourself to is the version of you from yesterday. Are you a little bit better today? A little bit kinder? A little bit more skilled? That's what matters.
That's really healthy. And again, for language learning, I think this is so relevant because students often compare themselves to native speakers or to other students who maybe started earlier and they feel discouraged.
But if you just focus on your own progress, 3 months ago I could barely make a sentence and now I can have a conversation, that's huge.
That really is huge. Progress is progress, no matter how small.
Exactly. Okay, your turn. Do you have another one?
I do, actually. This one is a bit more personal. It's from my mom.
Oh, lovely.
So my mom she's a very practical woman, very non-nonsense, not super emotional, very calm, very logical.
I feel like I would like your mom.
She would like you too, I think. So there was a period in my life, I was in my late 20s, where I was going through quite a difficult time. Without going into too many details, I was in a situation that was making me very unhappy, but I felt like I couldn't leave because I had put so much time and energy into it.
Ah, that feeling of being stuck.
Yes. And my mom said to me, she said, Eva, the time you've already spent is gone. You can't get it back whether you stay or leave. So the only question is, what do you want your future to look like?
Wow, that's powerful.
It really hit me because I was thinking about it the wrong way. I was thinking, but I've invested so much already, I can't walk away. And she was saying, that investment is already made. It's in the past. Don't make your future worse to protect something that's already gone.
That's actually quite a well-known idea. It's called the sunk cost fallacy. The idea that we keep doing something just because we've already put time or money into it, even when it's not making us happy.
Yes, but hearing it from my mom in such simple words made it click for me in a way that reading about it never had.
I think that's often how advice works. It's not necessarily a new idea, but it lands differently when the right person says it at the right moment.
Exactly. The timing matters. You have to be ready to hear it.
That's really true. I wonder how much good advice we've all received that just didn't land because we weren't ready for it yet.
Probably a lot. Maybe we'll hear it again someday and think, oh, that's what they meant.
Yeah, life is like that.
It really is. Okay, should we talk a little bit about advice in general? Like, what makes advice actually good?
Oh yes, because not all advice is equal.
Definitely not. We've all received terrible advice too.
So true. I think one thing that makes good advice is that it's honest, even if it's not what you want to hear. Like your professor. She could have just said, good effort, keep trying, but instead she told you something real.
Right. Comfortable advice is often useless advice.
And I think good advice is usually quite simple. It's not complicated. It's something you can remember and repeat to yourself.
Yes, the best advice often fits in one sentence. It doesn't need a long explanation.
And I think good advice respects the other person. It doesn't tell you exactly what to do. It gives you a way of thinking that you can apply yourself.
Ooh, I like that. Like my mom didn't say, leave that situation. She just gave me a new way to look at it, and then I made my own choice.
Exactly. The best advice empowers you. It doesn't control you.
That's beautifully put.
Thank you. I'm quite proud of that.
You should be. Okay, for our listeners, let's just recap some of the expressions we've used today, because we've used some really nice ones.
Good idea. So, it really stuck with me, meaning I remembered it for a long time.
It changed my perspective, meaning it made me see things differently.
Looking back on it, this phrase is great for when you're reflecting on the past.
I took that to heart, meaning I really listened and I applied it to my life.
Words of wisdom. This is a lovely phrase for advice that is wise and meaningful.
And at the time, I didn't really understand it, but useful for talking about how advice lands differently later in life.
Great expressions, all of them. Hopefully you can use some of those in your own conversations.
Okay, we are coming up to the end of today's episode. As always, it went very fast.
It did. I feel like we could talk about this for another hour, honestly.
We probably could, but we have to wrap up. So a huge thank you, as always, to everyone who is listening, whether this is your first episode or you've been with us for a while.
We are so grateful for your company.
Before we go, we want to leave you with a little challenge. Think about the best advice you've ever received. Maybe it was from a parent, a teacher, a friend, maybe even a stranger. Who gave it to you? What did they say? And did it change anything for you?
You could even write it down, maybe in English, as a way to practice. Just a few sentences. Who said it, what they said, and why it mattered to you.
That's a lovely exercise. Okay, we hope you enjoyed today's episode of Easy English Chats.
Take care of yourselves, keep practicing your English, and remember,
Progress is progress, no matter how small.
we're quoting ourselves now.
Why not? See you next time, everyone.
Bye for now.
Bye.